Hi, this is Dr. Bob today, and we're going to be talking about how to use energy psychology techniques to stop unstoppable temper tantrums. This is one of my most favorite techniques because A, it's incredibly simple, B, it works really well, and if you are a parent and you've had a child having a temper tantrum and there's nothing you can do to solve this problem and you now have a way to solve it, it's really nice to have this tool. Now, this tool won't work on everything, it doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't work every time, but when it works great. So let me tell you about this tool and when to use it. First of all, this is for a specific kind of temper tantrum. As a parent, you probably know that there are things that you do with your kid that when they're upset, they're crying, and you do whatever it is that you do, you distract them, you talk to them, you listen to them, and it works. They respond to you. This isn't for that. This particular technique is for those times when nothing is working on your kid. In fact, the more you do, the worse your kid gets. Or another way of looking at it is, it seems like the kid is locked into it. It's as if there's this lock on their behavior and their emotions and they just can't change it. Another thing that sometimes people will talk about is it almost is as if, it seems as if your child, whether they be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, it's as if they're into it. They're almost enjoying their temper tantrum. That's not quite it, but it kind of has that flavor. When that is happening, and we'll come back to this in a minute, that is called, in energy psychology terms, they are reversed. And reversed means it's as if your wires are crossed. It's as if you have a black pole, you have a black pole and a white pole, and normally the black wire goes on the black pole and the white wire goes on the white pole. It's as if they're crossed and everything works opposite. And when people are reversed, nothing works. So, what do? It's very simple. You take your child's hand, and let's say it's a 3 or a 4-year-old. You take their hand, you grab their little hand, and you take your hand, this is their hand, and there's a point right here, and you take your hand and you just tap their little hand like this. So you're going to be holding their hand, and with your hand you're just going to tap their hand like this. So right here, this is an acupuncture point, and on some other videos I'll be talking about this, but acupuncture points are points that you would, if you're an acupuncturist, you would stick a needle in, but you can percuss them, you can tap them, and it also creates effects in your energy system. And in this particular case, we're affecting the energy system in a way that will get rid of the problem that keeps temper tantrums locked in place. You take your hand and you just tap their little hand like this. While you're doing it, they're going to be crying and crying and crying and crying. And you're going to tap their hand like that, not long, 10 seconds, and then stop. Now, what's going to happen? First of all, it varies, but they'll still be crying, but what you should see is, and they may try to wiggle their hand away from you, but their crying will slow up a little bit. They'll start to pause a little bit, and here's the important thing: whatever that normally works for you, that isn't working or wasn't working up until now, will now start to work. So now you can distract them, or now you can talk to them, and they will calm down. And it works, when this is the right thing, just about every time. Let me give you an example. Actually, I was visiting, I love doing this because I visit friends, and this particular time I was visiting friends and they were therapists, and as a matter of fact, they had like a 4-year-old kid, and the father's putting the kid to bed, and you can hear, we're out having dinner, and the kid's wailing away, just crying, yelling, screaming, making all kinds of racket. I walk up, and there's this little girl, she's standing in the room, and she's just yelling and screaming, and the father, he's just kind of given up at this point. So I walk up to her, I go, "Hi, how you doing? Can I see your hand?" And I grab your hand, and she's crying away, and I grab your hand and I start tapping her little hand like that, and I just start to smile like that, and she's just, and I'm just smiling. Isn't that funny? And she starts to laugh. And then her crying stops. I say, "Thank you very much, go ahead, continue, Dad," and I walk out the door. He puts her to sleep, no problem. I've done this over and over and over again with my kid, other people's kids. I've taught a lot of clients this. It works great. So again, you grab the side of the hand, either hand. The actual point is right where this little line is, but you don't have to worry about that. You just take your flat of your hand and just very gentle. It's just the soft. You're not hitting them hard. Just tap their hand, 10 seconds, not even. It's not a bad idea to smile or act nonchalant, and then they'll slow up. Then you use whatever you normally use, and that's the end of this technique. Now I can tell you a few things. The first time you do this, guarantee it works like a charm. Second time works like a charm. By the third or the fourth or the fifth time you do this, the kid's going to know what's coming. And here's the funny thing: oftentimes they'll start to resist you. They'll start to pull their hand away, as if, as I said a moment ago, like they're kind of into it, like they want to have this temper tantrum because their wires are crossed. It almost feels good in a very strange way. When they do that, you just don't get mad. You just let them move their hand, especially when they're young. You just keep tapping and then you stop. Now you've done this for kids who are 7 years old, 8 years old. When they're older, teenagers, you can talk to them. You can say you're reversed. You just show this to them, right? Now there's one other little thing that's important. Sometimes you can, if you're the parent, you can get reversed. So if you find that you're upset and you can't calm down before you even deal with your kid, you can do that to your kid, to yourself. You just tap your own hand like that, and you might even say, "It's another video. I accept and forgive myself even though I'm upset." Well, little kids, you don't have to worry about all the verbal stuff. Or sometimes you can go like this with two hands, or you do that with your kids. Hey, let's do this. And you do this together with your kid, or you put their hand against your hand. You'll have to find a way that works for you. And as I said, it won't work every time, but when it works fantastic, and you're going to be so thankful that you have this will be one of your tools in your toolbox. Okay, so that's it for today's video. This is Dr. Bob signing off. We'll see you next time. Take care.